All right, everybody, welcome to the Hot Mess Podcast. I'm your host, John Fay, with Jordan Ezel and Allison Silbofsky. We are a podcast by students for students. We're giving you a little inside look at college life from a couple different perspectives. And today we just wrapped up a wonderful interview with Luann Khan, who's the Director of Career Services at Temple University, where we're all students in
Go
the
check out.
communication school.
Go check
Sorry,
out
what?
that interview.
Oh yeah, go check out our interview, please. We had her. She was our first guest. We're very happy with how it went over, and now we're doing kind of our normal show for today. So we wanted to discuss a couple different topics. It's the end of the semester, so I think everybody's facing some kind of academic burnout. We wanted to talk to you about exactly what academic burnout is, and if you actually have it, or if you're just getting a little bit tired. So I'm going to pass this off to Allison, who I know has done a little bit of research into this.
Yeah, so academic burnout is something that most students are facing right about now. It's basically just you're exhausted mentally and physically from the pileup of a bunch of work and assignments. And I have some signs that I wrote down to tell if you have academic burnout. So one is just like the feeling of exhaustion. It said online like the feeling of exhaustion, and no matter how much sleep you get, it's just not going away. The lack of motivation, the lack of motivation to attend classes, that is another big one. Lashing out due to frustration, loss in confidence in your academic work, lack of creativity, and the inability to meet deadlines. So a lot of these, if you're feeling this right now, remember it's completely normal. You just went through like an entire semester's worth of terrible work and a lot of work. So if you're feeling this right now, just like, don't worry, it's going to get better. Maybe.
Maybe. That's our Allison, always making sure to end on a positive note.
As you can tell, you can see the amazing bags under my eyes. I am extremely tired and, might be facing academic burnout right now, but it's okay.
Based off of all the symptoms, I 100% have academic burnout. I looked into it almost like a month ago now because I was already feeling it at that point, and I was like, yeah, I definitely have it.
I feel like with this
Not
semester,
fun.
more than ever, it's been so apparent too, because you're just so stationary, and in grad school, our classes tend to be about 3 hours long. So on a Wednesday night when you're sitting in class for 3 hours, towards the end, you just kind of zone out. And I think that's been an issue too, is we're not actually physically in a place of learning.
I agree. And like I know one thing we just talked to Luann about, just like being in like your room or just your apartment, somewhere like where you normally would relax, and now you have to do a bunch of like work. I know, like, I struggle with that. Even to like sit and do like a interview or something like that, I'm like very jittery and moody because like my bed's right there. I want to go to sleep, but it's like I have to focus and pay attention.
I don't really have a desk right now. I was telling you guys earlier, like I'm basically doing all my work from my bed. Like my computer's propped up on pillows right now, so it's like I feel like I'm hardly leaving my bed throughout the day, which is driving me a little crazy, to be honest with you. I don't have that separation of like my room is where I go to bed anymore. It's kind of like, oh no, my room is where I do all of my work and go to bed as well.
Right, my
And I
room
think
is
a
where
lot of
I
people are
live.
facing that.
You're
Yeah,
trapped in your room, basically.
exactly. And I think just because I'm not able to disconnect from that, I feel like my sleep has been interrupted by that, which that leads to other issues. Academic burnout is almost, it's kind of like a vicious cycle. Like there's so many different things that like you get tired, so then you don't do as good as you work on your work, so then you get very frustrated, and then it's connected to a bunch of other things. So especially right now during COVID, it's not good. I think a lot of us we do better in like an actual classroom setting, and not having that this semester was pretty rough on me, to be quite honest with you.
And I feel like that it only adds to it because you're a senior too. You're
Yeah,
senior.
I've got one semester left. I'm almost done, and now like I was good. I was doing fine up until this semester. Well, I'm still doing fine academically, but it was like my confidence was through the roof. I was like, all right, let's do this, and now it's just, oh my god, I just want it to be over.
You're crawling towards the finish line.
Yep, exactly. That's how it feels.
I
Yeah.
also feel like, especially with all of us kind of being in a pretty much a creative field, like media and communication is a very creative field, or at least it can be creative. I feel like with this, it gets very difficult because you have those long nights where it's like your brain is mush,
Mhm.
but you're forced to be creative still and come up with these creative ideas that sometimes, like when you're like running on nothing but caffeine, you can get like these amazing ideas, but other times like you do get the frustration of like I don't know anymore, I just don't care anymore. I think
Did you
that's like
say
one.
running off of nothing but caffeine, like me
Drink
right
your
now?
coffee. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I've had writer's block before, or just a creative block with no other pressures going on, when I was a sophomore in college, or, whatever year it was. But this year just kind of feels like you have to keep coming up with different ideas and staying atop of your game, but it also is a lack of motivation and being actually out in a space. So it's just a crazy, crazy time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now we're going to go on to like our next topic that kind of relates to it, but as you know, it is finals time. I know Jordan, she just finished all of her finals. John and I are prime in the middle of of finals.
Yep.
We're going to talk about like how to deal with the buildup of like, because I know finals, it's pretty much every class has like 4 assignments all piled up, like one after another is due. Just like, how do we deal with that? And how do you guys like, what are some tips that we have to like deal with the pileup of assignments?
Notebooks, notebooks, notebooks. Write down everything you want to do throughout the day. I am a person that I need order like that. Like I need to have like a check mark next to like finish this paper today, or start this project today. And checking those things off, it's like, okay, I'm getting closer. I'm getting closer. I think a lot of people kind of just like, oh, I'll get it done when I do. Like they don't have a lot of structure throughout the day. So I think getting structure in your schedule is very important, especially during these times.
Mhm.
Yeah, I definitely agree with John on that one. Having a planner or a notebook is essential. And the biggest lesson that I would take away from my undergrad is the fact that I would always stress myself out towards the end of finals, or when I had a lot of assignments due at once. Just stressing out on the amount of work that I've done and thinking that I'm not going to get it done. But the biggest thing that I've taken away, at least for being in grad school too, is no matter what, it always gets done. I'm not the type of person to let my work just slip through my fingers. So once I realized that and took that stress and pressure off of, oh, you're not going to be able to get everything done, it really, really calmed me down a lot. So I think that too is just thinking, okay, this is a temporary situation. I'm a hard worker. I've never once not got my work done. So why am I stressing out about it now? It will always get done.
I think something that I do to like help myself is I'm I'm very much of a person, I like to get an assignment done like then and there. Like I like to start it and finish it like all at once. So when it comes to finals time, I like to plan out what I'm gonna do, but it's like Wednesday, I'm going to work on this essay and I'm going to get this essay done. Then Thursday, I'm going to work on this video. I'm going to get this video done. And I like to do everything like that. And I know that's just a tip how I work and do things. Some people can't really work like that. They like to start and stop multiple things. I think that's a way that I've been able to keep organized. And again, like I use Google Calendars as like my best friend. I plan everything out in Google Calendars. Also, the sticky note tab and feature on the computer, use that all the time. But again, just like plan things out. I think that's a great method.
I'd be interested to see what our listeners have to say about this too, and if they have different ways of handling stress and how you handle multiple assignments at one time too. So if you guys have any advice for us, definitely let us know on the gram.
Yeah. Comment on our pictures, reach out in our DMs.
I think something that really helps a lot of people, including myself, is remembering why you're in college, like having that end goal that you're working towards. I think that that's so important. Knowing like, okay, I want to be graduated, I want to have a full-time job by this time next year for myself, because I'll be graduated at that point. Um, Remembering, like how long, especially again, me, I'm at the finish line, so it's like we've talked about this in previous shows. I took a few years off because I didn't know what I wanted to do, but it's like I went back and finished it, and now I'm so close, and I have to keep thinking back to like how much work I've put in to get to this point. Don't give up now. You're so close to the end. So remembering that, having gratitude for the. I mean, not everybody can go to college. It is. I think we think of college as being such like a commonplace thing in our lives just because we come from backgrounds where maybe a lot of people do go to college, but that's not everybody. Not everybody has this opportunity. So remembering that this is, we're getting quality education from a really good college, and remembering like we shouldn't take that for granted.
Right. I think, yeah, that's something to be grateful about the opportunities. And something that we took from Luann's conversation is she was just saying, take all of the resources and everything that you have in front of you. Don't take those for granted, and really try to apply and use those resources to your advantage, because just like you said, not a lot of people get this opportunity. So it's really important to take up what you have in front of you.
Yeah, exactly. Is there any other tips we can think of? Those were kind of my most important ones.
You take a deep breath. Make sure you take a break and take some time for yourself like amidst all the finals and stress, because I know it's going to be like it's going to be 2-3 weeks of hell, but like make sure you're not killing yourself too much. Take some
Yep.
time, try to get a good night's sleep every night. It'll really help you focus and concentrate on your studying and everything.
I think burnout culture has become so commonplace that people are just like, oh, I'm just going to stay up for 2 days straight. It's like that's not good for you, and it's not worth it in the end. I've done that. It's not worth it. It's absolutely not worth it. And a lot of the time, if you have to do that, it's because you waited until the end to do stuff. So don't procrastinate. Get your work done on time. Do not wait until the end. Personal experience, I've done it. It's not fun. It's not worth it. Lack of sleep is connected to so many different health issues. So it's absolutely not worth it. I'd say just do everything on a schedule, write everything down, remember why you're doing it, and just keep working, and don't let yourself get burned out at the end. Even if all your friends are doing it, it's like it's that old saying. If all your friends jumped off a bridge, would you do it? It's like no. Well, why are you going to burn yourself out when it's an avoidable thing?
Agreed.
Mm-hmm. And I know for another topic we wanted to discuss is going to be the holidays are coming up, some sooner than others. We want to talk about our kind of holiday traditions that we have. I know me and Jordan are celebrating. Jordan, you're celebrating Christmas, right?
Yeah, well, I'm kind of hoping to. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to be able to go home, but
Okay.
I'm still celebrating it. My roommate and I decorated our apartment,
I see
and
the Christmas lights.
oh, these are actually, they're technically not, they're not really Christmassy. It's just
Oh,
my
okay.
room is so dark, so I needed to add a little extra light up in here.
Oh, okay.
But we did decorate, outside.
Decoration.
Yeah.
Very fun. So you and I are celebrating Christmas. I want to start off with Allison because she's going to be celebrating Hanukkah, and Hanukkah during COVID. I wanted to know what your plans are during all this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Hanukkah is one of those in the Jewish religion. It's not one of the big ones. It's kind of been mainstreamed in like American culture, but Hanukkah is very like low key, basically. Like there are bigger holidays. Um, so if I'm gonna be honest, at least for me, Hanukkah's not that different. I always had school and I've always had work. You just light the menorah at the end of the day. Um, and but that's also just my family. I know other families have like Hanukkah parties and everything. So I won't actually be home. I decorated the apartment with my roommates. We have our Christmas tree. We also have our Hanukkah menorah. Um, But yeah, otherwise Hanukkah starts sundown on the 10th, so Thursday night. You can light your menorah. Um, yeah, otherwise, I know I'm gonna have with my roommates like a little holiday party. We're gonna do Hanukkah things like we're gonna spin the dreidel, and I'm gonna make potato latkes, which are if you know, they're squished potato pancakes basically.
Mhm.
I've
Think
had
of
them.
it
They're
as squished potato
delicious.
pot. I love them. I'm actually gonna try to make challah. If that's like the special
Oh,
bread that we have. I saw a video on TikTok where you make it into a Hanukkah menorah. So of course I'm gonna try to do it.
that's cool.
Stay tuned for a picture. Um, yeah, otherwise, this year it's not really that different. It's
Hmm.
pretty much a very low key holiday, in my opinion and in my family. That's it.
Just out of curiosity, I grew up with a decent amount of friends who are either of a Jewish background or they come from like a very religious background, and I did notice growing up that like Hanukkah wasn't like it's not like their Christmas.
Yeah.
But what would you say is like a more important holiday around this time
Um,
for?
so around this, okay, so Hanukkah, it's equated to Christmas just because like you do
It's
typically get
close by.
presents and everything, but it like the more the bigger holidays is probably like it's gonna be like Passover, which that's around Easter time. Or we have the Jewish New Year, which is in the beginning around like Labor Day.
Hmm.
So that one you have Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. Those are going to be the big holidays. Which that one, like I've always spent time with my family. We go to temple. I have to fast for a day. Um, we have this big feast, this big dinner. Those two are the pretty much the main holidays that are the big like going to celebrate time with the family and everything. As for Hanukkah, it's more of just like a fun little thing that like again, I feel like it's just been mainstreamed by American culture to get like American Jews a little more into the holiday season and to relate to people who
Hmm.
celebrate like Christmas, for example.
That's great. Jordan, what about you? What are your plans this year?
It's a good question. I feel like so many things have just been up in the air. I'm still not 100% sure that I'm going to be able to go home because I wasn't able to go home for Thanksgiving. I ended up actually doing all of my Christmas shopping already, so I feel ahead of the game, but I guess I'm just going to play it by ear. I mainly go home to visit my grandparents, so I don't want to put them at risk with,
Yeah.
I feel it's just been really bad with COVID right now. So my plan is just to hopefully be able to go home. If not, I know my roommate and I are planning once she's done with her finals too, just to have a kind of Christmas day and watch Christmas movies. We've got cookies to bake and just to enjoy that time together. We kind of created a little family here. So if I'm not able to go home, I guess I would just FaceTime my family and, hope for an actual everything to actually be able to celebrate next year if I can't go home this year.
Hmm.
What about you, John? What are you doing for the holiday?
Well, usually what we do is I usually spend it with my immediate family. So my parents, I have three younger siblings, so I celebrate with them. My one brother's finishing up college around the same time I am, so he'll be back from his college as well. We usually have my grandmother and my aunts over from Long Island. They usually spend like a couple days before Christmas with us, but just with COVID going on, not just with travel restrictions, but my grandmother's 86 years old, so we don't want to put her at risk. So I'm not sure if I'm even seeing her at all this year. What we usually do is the day after Christmas, we usually drive to Long Island to see my family, and we don't know if we're doing that either. I will probably still be, the last 3 years have been splitting the day between my family and my girlfriend's family.
Right.
So I'll probably still be doing that. I usually celebrate Christmas Mass with them on Christmas and on Christmas Eve. So we'll probably still be doing that. And the churches in our area have limited capacity, so we're probably going to be doing that. There's certain traditions that we want to still adhere to
Mhm.
as much as we can in the situation. So it's going to be a little different this year, but we're trying to just make the best of it. And everybody in my family is amazing cooks, so we're all going to just eat like gluttons for 2 or 3 days.
think that's the best part about the holidays, all the
Yep.
homemade and like the childhood cooking that you typically have during the holidays.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that's a good point that you made, John. Just trying to stay positive
Mhm.
during this time, because I know I'm not the only one who's not 100% sure if they're going to be able to go home for Christmas. So just being able to reflect on this year, there's been so much negativity, but I feel like a lot of positivity has come out from this as well. So just being appreciative for your family, thanking your friends, and hopefully if you can celebrate with your family, appreciating that time a little extra this year.
Yeah, exactly. Making the best of the situation. Everybody's in a different situation. I mean, we're just the three of us are in different situations. Like you two might not be able to see your family. Like I'm seeing my family, but not to the capacity that I usually do. So
Right.
it'll be different this year. And like everybody else, I hope that it is back to kind of being normal next year.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's also something people should like just remember to kind of stay positive. If you can't see your family this year, remember there's going to be next year. Like you'd rather
Take an L for
play
this year. I'd rather take an L for this year, and then hopefully the years in the future, everything's okay.
exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 I still need to do a bunch of Christmas shopping. I've gotten almost nobody's gifts yet, so I gotta start up like now.
Yeah, I'm glad I did it before, because now that we're laid off, I'm really glad, because I was like, man, well, at least I don't have to worry about getting everyone everything without a secure, steady income.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's going to be different this year, but yeah, all we can do is make the best of it.
I think one last thing we should talk about is what is our favorite cookie? It could be holiday cookie, it could be regular cookie, but what is your favorite cookie?
Okay, I don't know what they're called, but the sugar cookies with the Reese's cup in the middle, or not the Reese's cup, the Hershey Kisses.
Oh,
That was a
I've
big thing
seen
my family
those.
would
Those
make.
are good.
I don't know what they're called though, but they're those ones.
um, God, it's hard. I'm a really big fan. Allison will probably know what I'm talking about because she's from Long Island. I'm originally from Long Island, but you know those black and white cookies that you can get at the bakeries.
Oh my god.
Allison, Allison was like, yes.
Oh, those are they're the big ones. Oh my god.
Yep. Yeah. I grew up on those, so uh, my family loves those so much. When I was younger, we had a black and white cat named Cookie because she was
Oh,
like
I
half
love
black
that.
and half white, and we named her after those cookies. So
Amazing.
those are a treat because I really only have them like around Christmas time. Usually, if we go to when I see my family, we'll get some from like one of the local bakeries or something like that. So I always connect that with Christmas time. Like I don't really have that any other time of the year. I love that I said that, and Allison was just like, "Yes." She knew exactly what I was talking
I
about.
haven't had one since I've been home. Like, I mean, I'm sure I can get them here, like in Philly. I just don't.
Yeah, but
But
they're like a New York. They're like a New York thing.
mhm.
Even the Marylander over here, I know what those cookies are.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I don't know. Like growing up, it was always like the bakeries around like where I'm originally from. It's like they always had them, so it was just like,
Yeah, you go in like
and,
any
and it's like a
bagel
once a year
store.
thing. So it's kind of like my holiday cookie almost.
I am a sucker for a good chocolate chip cookie.
Always.
Like, I can, whether it's just like a cold chocolate chip cookie or, okay, the freshly baked ones, like, my gosh, I love like, and it's all gooey and stuff. Oh, I'm a sucker for a good chocolate chip.
Oh yeah, can't go wrong.
Yep. I still have not had insomnia cookies. How is that? I know that we
What?
have one on campus.
You are missing out, my friend.
You really are. You want that gooey
I've heard
chocolate
they're
chip cookie?
amazing.
They have it's like a duo deal that they have where I think it's for like $6 maybe or $7. I don't know, it's overpriced. But you get like a container of milk and then you get 2 chocolate chip cookies. Um
Interesting.
I That's what I typically get because like, you have the milk, you have the cookies. It's great.
Yep.
Santa's favorite too.
Hmm. Are you guys gonna leave cookies out for Santa Claus?
Depends if I don't eat them myself.
My youngest sibling, she in like the last 2 years, I think, she kind of came to the conclusion that Santa's not real. So I think
Oh,
we've
what do you
stopped doing
say?
that, unfortunately.
So she just figured it out herself. Your parents didn't tell her.
Yeah, she was just kind of like, nah, I think it's mom and dad. She's 13 now, so she figured it
Mhm.
out a little while ago.
Oh man, I
So
remember when I
we
found
might just for tradition's sake, but I'm not sure.
right. But I was at my mom's house and I was just going downstairs for a glass of water. And she could have just said, hey, I'm just rearranging the presents or, whatever. But she looked at me and she's like, the jig is up. Santa's not real. I was maybe 8.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. She was tired of it. She was like, I'm just going to tell you the truth. All this work is me.
I remember, obviously, like I didn't have Santa Claus. Santa Claus didn't come to my house.
Right.
So when I was like in kindergarten, I was like very, very young because all my friends were like getting Christmas presents from Santa and I wasn't. So my mom was like, I have a secret for you, but you can't tell anyone. So she told me. And then I remember I went around in kindergarten. I was like, I have a secret and I can't tell any of you. Ha ha. I never told anyone, but I was like that little bitch who was like, I have a secret.
Yeah,
I
at
know
least you weren't the one that ruined the Christmas magic for them.
it
I, I
wasn't
I
me.
don't
I
remember
never
who
told anyone, but I
I
definitely
don't
held it over their heads that I had the secret.
I don't remember who it was, but there was a comedian and he had a joke. He's like, you don't want your kid to be the first kid to tell everybody about Santa because that kid sucks, but you don't want your kid to be the last kid to
Just
find out
wanted to
about
find it
Santa because that kid's clueless.
Yeah. Very
out.
true.
You gotta like find out like when they're starting to figure that out.
Mhm. Yeah, when they come to you with suspicions.
Yep. Ah, is there anything else that we wanted to talk about with the holidays?
I mean, we're still they're coming. They're around the corner.
Yeah.
We've got plenty more time to, talk about how this year's going to be different than next, or this year is different than years before. That's what I
Yeah.
meant.
I think bringing it back to our beginning topics in the weeks coming, like next week and the week before like the holidays really start coming, we'll all be dialing down with finals and stress. So we'll be able to kind of
Yeah.
get in the spirit a little more without dealing with the finals.
Definitely.
Yeah, just know you're not alone. If you're alone this year, if you can't go home, or if you can't see people that you typically see, there are other options, FaceTiming or Zoom calls, doing what you can to still kind of keep the connection there.
Definitely.
Yeah, just remember this isn't a forever thing. This is like
Mhm.
a crazy, hopefully just one time thing that we're dealing with. Hopefully next year will be normal. So, don't get discouraged thinking that this is going to be the
Norm.
new normal
Mhm.
for the holidays at least. We'll probably be back to being somewhat normal next year with a lot of the vaccines being rolled out in the very near future. So, yeah, just look forward to next year. Just remember this year is just like a one-off thing, and when we're older we can talk about it and be like, I remember when like COVID was affecting all the holidays.
Mhm. Mhm. When COVID was affecting literally everything.
Literally everything.
Yeah.
Especially Christmas. No.
Get ready to
All
help your
right.
kids in history class. 'Cause God help
Wait,
them. They're going to need it.
yeah.
Chapter on 2020. It's going to be a big chapter.
Uh,
Be interested to see how New Year's goes down this year.
Yeah. I'm really I'm curious to see if New York City and New York kind of puts
Right.
how they handle that. I
Mhm.
was
yeah.
thinking maybe like they'll put in a curfew for New Year's
I think they will too. Yeah.
because how else are they supposed to stop? They're probably still going to drop the ball,
Mhm.
Yeah.
but how are you going to stop people from gathering in Times Square?
Right. It's public place. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I just hope people are smart about it. And, I know we're all so happy for this year to be over, but the results of this year are still going to carry into next year too. So unless we want another year like this one, just be smart.
Yeah.
Do what you can.
I'm always thinking years from now when I have kids and they are going to be talking about history, they're going to be like, Dad, what was 2020 like? Oh my God. Sit
Kind of
down.
I'm going to be honest,
Uh,
I like barely even remember half the things that happened this year. Like I was thinking of something earlier. There was like a big, okay, this is going to sound bad because I just genuinely don't remember. There was like a big hurricane this year, right?
the beginning of this year, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember vaguely, it was like down in Texas, Florida, maybe, and there was a bunch of people with like on rescue boats with masks on.
Why do I want to say that was New Orleans?
It might have been.
Yeah, so much has
There-
happened this year.
It's
New
like
Orleans is in that area where they're prone to getting hurricanes like going through that area, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was that area.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the forest fires and the whole World War III.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
that was like in January. That was like the second day of 2020. There was World
No
War.
one else was freaking out about it. It's like,
Yeah.
So much.
It's funny because like I remember like what it was like before COVID this year. Like I'm thinking back to it, and like the thing that I miss like the most, especially being on campus, was I would most of my classes were in Annenberg, and I would go down towards like near Diamond Street. There was one of those kiosks. It was a little cafe called I'm honestly forgetting the name of it, but it was like my favorite. It was my favorite food place on campus. It was like you could get coffee or tea, and they had like baked goods there. And like every like once a week, I would stop by there and get like get a latte or something like that.
Does Richard know that?
It's in front of Boyer, I think. Tiny little gray place. Unfortunately, I'm forgetting the name of it. Cloud Coffee. Cloud Coffee.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like once that was like my little tradition. Like usually on like a Friday, I would stop by there and like grab coffee and like something to eat.
Mhm.
And it's like just that little thing being gone. It's just like, man, I miss
Right.
that. And with the way the next semester is going to be, I'm probably never going to be able to go back there unless I
You
visit
can always come
campus
back
after
to
I
campus.
graduate. Yeah, I might stop by just for that.
Mhm.
It's a good thing to stop by for.
Yep, exactly. All right, guys. Is there any other things that we wanted to discuss?
Watch our show.
Yeah.
Watch our show. Watch our episode with Luann Khan that we just finished right before this one.
Do we mention we're on Spotify now?
We're on Spotify.
We're on Spotify now. No, we have not mentioned that. Yes, we're on Spotify. We're not just on YouTube. So you can catch all the audio of all of our shows on Spotify.
We're no longer frauds. We're actually a podcast now.
Yes, actually a podcast.
And I was trying to I was racking my brain trying to figure out how to make an RSS link because you need that link in order to make it a podcast. I finally figured it out. So if I can do it.
You can check out, we'll have the link to our Spotify account in our Instagram bio. So make sure you go check that out. We also, you can watch our video on, what was I going to say? I was going to say Instagram, on YouTube. There we go. So
Yeah, our channel is just called the Hot Mess Podcast.
We're no longer just a hot mess. We're the Hot Mess Podcast.
Exactly.
I'm going to look into being on Apple too.
Yes.
So all you Apple Music users.
Oh yeah. We won't leave you behind with with the Spotify Wrapped. We won't leave you behind. We're trying to make it up on our podcast too.
Also, we're thinking about going maybe on TikTok. Let us know in either the comments or shoot us a DM if you'd be interested in seeing our content on TikTok. Don't know how we're going to do that yet, but it's a possibility. We might do.
We've got ideas.
Oh, yeah.
If you have any other platforms you'd love to see the Hot Mess Podcast on, make sure you send that our way.
Yeah, and if you want more pet pics, let us know about that too.
Oh, yeah.
Winston's cute little picture last night on our Instagram.
We read all the messages you guys send us, and we're always looking to improve our show one way or another. So, give us any advice you want. Tell us about things that you want us to talk about on the show. Suggest guests. We're trying to get a lot more guests on the show. Luann was our first guest today, and we were very happy with how that went over.
Yeah, trying to bring in some professionals, give some good advice. All right. Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been another great show. This is the Hot Mess Podcast. I'm your host, John Fay, with Jordan Ezel and Allison Silabofsky. We will catch you all in the next episode. Bye, guys.
Yeah.